So you're thinking about studying in Australia in 2026? Well, you need to listen up, because the entire rulebook has been thrown out and completely rewritten. Seriously. What you think you know could get your application flat out rejected before it's even properly looked at. In this breakdown, we are going to go through exactly what's changed and, more importantly, what you need to do about it. Okay, let's get right into it.
And I'm talking especially to you if you're an aspiring student from India, Nepal, Bangladesh, or Bhutan. All the old strategies, the old timelines, they're basically useless now. The stakes are so much higher, and even one tiny mistake can lead to a really swift and final rejection.
So, what's the reason for this massive shift? Well, it all boils down to one single change. Australia has reclassified several major countries into what's called Evidence Level 3. The easiest way to think about this is like you're going from a standard airport security check to a full-on maximum security deep dive. This one high-risk label is the trigger for every single new, tougher requirement that we're about to talk about.
And you know, the first major hurdle of this new Level 3 status is the financial gauntlet. It's no longer just about showing you have the money. It's about proving its entire history and its legitimacy under an incredibly intense microscope. Take a look at this number, 29,710 Australian dollars. This is the new, absolute, non-negotiable minimum amount of money you have to prove you have ready to go. And get this, that's just for 1 year of your living costs. But wait, that living cost figure? That's only one piece of the whole puzzle. As you can see here, once you start adding in things like your first year of tuition, which is a conservative example, by the way, plus travel, plus that mandatory health insurance, the total show money you need can easily climb past 60,000 Australian dollars. And with this Level 3 scrutiny, it also means that the case officers are now literally manually auditing your bank history. So those sudden, huge deposits that kind of appear out of nowhere, or funds that have only been sitting in your account for a few weeks, yeah, those are now massive red flags. The key takeaway here is that your financial history has to be clean, it has to be consistent, and it has to be verifiable for at least 3 to 6 months. No shortcuts. Okay, so we've covered your finances, but it's also about your motivation. Australia has totally replaced the old Genuine Temporary Entrant, or GTE requirement, with a brand new standard, the Genuine Student, or GS, test. And this little shift in letters? It creates a very different picture of what they're looking for in an applicant. See, the old GTE rule was all about proving you intended to leave. That was the main point, that you would go home. But the new Genuine Student requirement, it's a subtle but really critical shift. The focus is now on proving that your main purpose for coming to Australia is genuinely to study, that you've actually researched your course, and that it has real, tangible value for your future career. So, instead of writing some long, generic essay, the application now hits you with these really targeted questions. You're going to need to give super concise, evidence-backed answers that explain your ties to home, why you chose this specific course at this specific university, and how it's actually going to help your career. Vague answers like, "I'm just doing it for a better future." They just won't cut it anymore. All right, so beyond the big two, finances and intent, this whole Level 3 thing has brought in several other really strict, non-negotiable rules. Rules with like 0 exceptions. First up, English tests are now absolutely mandatory. The old loopholes, like getting an exemption because your last degree was taught in English, those are gone. You have to provide a valid official score from a test like IELTS or PTE right when you submit your application. And this is crucial. The online or at-home versions of these tests, they are not accepted for the visa. It has to be in person. And on top of that, there's this. A brand new age limit has been introduced. The absolute maximum age for student visa applicants is now capped at 35. This is a huge change, especially for mature-age students who are maybe looking to upskill or change careers. It really signals a clear policy shift towards younger applicants.
Now let's take a little trip back in time. Do you remember the old processing times? For a lot of people, the median time from hitting submit to getting a decision was about 2 weeks, 14 days.
Well, those days are long gone. Under Level 3, because every single document is being looked at by a human and manually verified, the new standard processing time is anywhere from 4 to 12 weeks. And that much longer timeline has massive implications for when you need to start this whole process.
So, with all these new challenges, all these hurdles, how do you actually succeed? Well, the key is to shift your entire mindset. You're not just applying anymore. You are building a complete, thorough, decision-ready file from the very first day. Let's break down exactly what that strategy looks like.
This timeline right here,
This is your new reality. You need to start planning your application almost a full year ahead of time. See that? Your financial history needs to be solid 10 months out. You should have your English test results in hand 6 months before your intake. This is absolutely not a last-minute process anymore.
So what does a decision-ready application really mean in 2026? It means everything, and I mean everything, is uploaded the moment you hit submit. Your finances are clean and verifiable. Your GS answers are specific and backed up with proof. And your file is 100% complete and truthful. There is no longer any chance to add documents later on. You get one shot to make a first impression.
Look, at the end of the day, the Australian student visa landscape for 2026 is definitely more challenging. No doubt about it. But it's not impossible. It just demands way more preparation, a ton more evidence, and a much smarter strategy. The bar for entry has been raised significantly, which leaves just one final question for you to think about. Is your application truly ready to clear it?